Tony's brothers. He had a beautiful home, very similar to Roseanne's home. Two-story, beautiful home. Very nice wife, quite pretty. And we went to the house, and they were going to take us out to dinner. And so he had a son-in-law who had a restaurant, a first-class restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And she had prepared a beautiful dish of all the best fruits you can think of, all washed nicely on the table. So when we got there, we ate a little bit of fruit and all. And then she was going to go to the refrigerator to get. She had prepared a platter of prosciutto, etc., and so on and so forth to serve. I said, no, please. I said, we're supposed to go out to dinner, so pasta, we'll eat when we go out to dinner. So we said, oh, fine, then we'll go to dinner at the daughter's, or this very nice restaurant. It wasn't a greasy spoon, it was a nice quality restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as a matter of fact, her daughter married I don't remember if he was from Italy or a son of Italians, but he spoke very good Italian. Well, she probably just spoke dialect, and she learned to speak Italian rather well, having the restaurant, So he said, look at the menu and order whatever you like. And so we all looked, and I thought, oh, well, this looks good. It was lobster and filet mignon.
Lobster and filet, surf and turf.
Oh. And so, of course, they served Italian style, all the antipasto first and everything else. So at any rate, I said, well, this looks good. He said, that's what I would have suggested, but you order anything you like, whatever you like. And, we ordered that. and we were talking, making conversation. And your father was talking about, I'll remember this paisan, that who immigrated here. And, he was talking about those who immigrated there, people they were recollecting. And they were talking about one man, and they mentioned him by name. And I said, I don't know who that is. And Giovanni said, what do you mean? He said, of course you know him. He lives in Fremont, he had the pizzeria, blah, blah, blah. You know him and his wife, and they have 2 children. And we went to the
Will you
son's...
go get my purse? My battery's almost dead.
We went to the son's wedding. And, I said, oh! I said, you mean Ponce Presenza? And
That's his name?
You know how they give nicknames to all the people?
Mm-hmm.
Because they keep naming people in town after their grandparents. So you might have, at one time in Santa Rosa, there were 9 Franks. 9 Franks at a big...
That's our family. Frank, Vince, and John.
Oh, sorry.
Vince, John, and Frank, and Joe.
And Joseph. So anyway, I said, oh, you mean Ponce Presenza? And then the Giovanni's friend, the father of the girl who's owned the restaurant, the girl and husband and son-in-law.
Uh-huh.
And he started laughing because he remembered that was his nickname from Italy. And the girl wanted to know, she said, why are you calling him that? Why are you calling him Ponce Presenza? And then I started laughing too, because she took it so seriously and she couldn't understand.
What exactly does it mean, Mom?
Panza is in dialect for pancia.
Stomach.
Pancia e presenza.
So it was huge?
So you see his stomach first, and then you see him.
Oh, okay.
So Ponce Presenza. And she was following us out the restaurant door, happy that we came and everything. We hope we liked the dinner and all, but the main thing she wanted, the father paid the bill at the table and all.
Uh-huh.
She followed us up all the way out, and I started laughing too, because I started thinking, here, this poor girl, her cousin's name is Ponce Presenza's nickname, and she didn't know who Ponce Presenza, and I didn't know his name by his real name. I didn't know when they said, like Joe Jones or whatever. I don't want to give his name, but I didn't know him until I said, oh, you mean Ponce Presenza? And then her mother was laughing, her father was laughing, Giovanni was laughing, and we were going out the door, and she was following, and she was saying to me, but why did they call him that? Why did they call him that? We were all laughing, we couldn't couldn't stop because she was very serious about it. She didn't know they called her cousin Ponce Presenza.
She didn't have any idea?
Because he always apparently had a stomach.
But she didn't know they called him
She
that.
didn't know that was his nickname. She knew his name by his name, and she didn't know that at all. Well, that was funny. She followed us all the way to the car, and we were all laughing. We couldn't stop, but she was very serious. And then she was asking me, but why did you say that? Why did you say that? Why did you say that? And then I was thinking to myself, it is a funny nickname because it indicates that first your stomach is visible, and then the rest of you. Poor Ponce President. Oh, he's not poor. He's chunky and well, he's fine. He's fine. Yeah, he would. That was funny. Ponce Presenza.
So, Mom, tell me about some of the things that you and Zio Frankie and Uncle Joe used to do when you were little children.
Oh, they didn't want me around.
They were too old?
They were old, much older than I am. They used to give me anything and everything they could, and anything that I would need or I would want. When I graduated from college, they gave me a case of champagne and $600, which would have been the fifth-year tuition. Because of scholarship.
$600 was a lot back then, huh?
Yeah, it was a tuition for 1 year, and that was to cover the fifth year to get my general secondary credential. But they were,
Did you ever have a crush on any of their friends?
No.
None?
I know I never did. None of them.
What about when you were a little girl? What did you and your friends do?
I was very hard and judgmental. I told you
About men?
With a date with any man more than once. And some of them were very good when I look back. But I would say, oh, we have nothing in common. I don't care for that one. That's that. Oh, I had this one fellow kept calling, and every Saturday morning. It wasn't like the phones now that you can see who's calling.
Right.
So you had to pick up the phone. And he'd keep me on the phone and talk.
Why couldn't you just say, I can't talk anymore, my mother needs me to clean the floor or something?
Oh. And then finally I knew the time he used to call. So I just stopped answering the phone. But he wanted to go out again, and I didn't care for him. So I didn't want to go out with him anymore. And but if it were the phones now, I would look and see that he was calling, and I wouldn't answer it. But in those days, you didn't have the screen, as you do, which I think it's wonderful, the screen that you have now. You can see who's calling. I never answered the 800 calls.
Except now they have devices for scammers that look like you're calling from a different phone number.
Yeah, but when they say, 800,
right.
Whatever, I never pick it up. They all are looking for money.
One way or another.
Yeah.
Either a collection agency or a charity or...
My winners.
Oh, it's in my purse, Mom. Hang on. I want to ask you a few more questions. Like, when you were a little girl, when we were little girls, we played jacks and paper dolls and stuff. What did you do?
Coloring books, jacks, paper jacks, ride our bicycles, ride our bikes.
Who was your best friend when you were a little girl in elementary school?
Lorraine.
You remember what her last name was?
No.
And you were in the same grade?
But I went to Catholic school. I went to private school. I went to public school in the first and the second grade and the third grade. Then I went to Notre Dame, where Ida was in high school. And we used to go on and my brother Joe went 7th and 8th grade to Mission Dolores. So we used to take the bus together, and we used to take the bus together to go, and then come home together on the bus. And then one day I said, I know the way myself. I can go myself. And they said, no, you can't. You'd better wait. We were Ida and my brother Joe and me, and going on the bus, and they didn't think I'd do it, I guess, but I didn't want to. I was going to show, I couldn't go by myself, and I did. So that time I took the bus by myself and came home.
You know what? Once when I was a little girl, you told me a story, and I cried for days because I felt how hurt your feelings were, but you told me about when you got the brand new lunchbox and someone was jumping rope.
Oh, my lunchbox. We used to eat our lunch. I remember the looks, shape, and everything. Do you know those lunch boxes now are of value?
Is it the
I
one
bet
shaped
they
like
are.
this? Is it the one shaped like this?
I bet they are.
Is it the one shaped like this?
Well, no. What we used to do with our lunch boxes after we ate our lunch, we should go put them in line because you like to be first in line. So we should go put them where we lined up each grade.
Mhm.
And I put mine, and someone was jumping rope or whatever, and she jumped on mine.
And it was the first day you had it, wasn't it?
It was my new lunchbox for that year. Every year you used to buy a new lunchbox.
Right.
And it was oval, and it had a tray on top, so you could put your napkin and anything dry on the top tray, and then all your lunch, even a sandwich stand, so if you had fruit and some drink or something underneath.
What color was it? What did it look like?
I think it was somewhat beige.
Did it have flowers or?
No. Every year you got a different one, They were always different. But, I felt so bad about my lunchbox.
When you told me that story as a little girl, I felt so bad for you that I cried for days.
Yeah.
Remember that teddy bear you gave me? It used to be your teddy bear, the panda.
Yeah, we still have them in the box on the loft if they didn't get rotten. I washed all the toys and I put them in a big box. I think they were pretty dry, but if they weren't, they might all have to be thrown out.
Well, these days I get those little, when you buy a purse, you get that little packet inside with the stuff. I buy some of those packets and put them in places.
Charcoal.
No, it's silica.
Silica. In purses, yes.
It keeps the moisture out, so.
Yes.
I have a hamper, a wicker hamper I keep my purses in, and I have a whole bunch of them in there.
Oh, gosh. I'm not a purse freak. I have a drawer of purses.
No, I mean a whole bunch of silica packets. I don't have very many purses these days.
Purse freak.
So, Mom,
I like a lot of clothes, but I'm not a purse freak. And, shoes, I guess I have a goodly number. But,
you've always liked shoes.
Purses, I like to, but I have suitable for various, like the black Pierre Cardin I have, and I have the black, the one from Argentina, which is made of the,
Zia Maria brought it to you?
yeah, I asked Zia Maria to bring me one, and they had to go all over Argentina because I think they're a protected species now. Oh, como se llama?
Ostrich?
That's ostrich. Is it ostrich from Argentina?
No,
Maybe.
those things that they used to ride, the big things, remember? I think they were ostriches.
Ostrich, yeah. And so I have that for those two would be appropriate, for anything. And then I have a nice summer bag linen, and I have shoes to match that, the linen. And then I have, I love the Pierre Cardin though. I've used a million times over. It's still nice. And what else do I have in there? I bought a very beautiful one. Would be very appropriate for my main coat in London. Very expensive designer bag. I've never used. And then I have that beautiful one. Carla gave me the red and this leather one here, red and black. And then I have the other Coach one over there that's on the back of the chair in here.
Mm-hmm.
Coach. And then my favorite purse that I ever bought was really that one that somebody.
That the crackhead stole?
Yeah, stole.
That was a beautiful
That
purse.
was
I was
so-
jealous of that purse. I was hoping you would get tired of it and give it to me.
You know what? You cannot believe I went to Safeway. I went to doctor's appointments. I've gone so many times. People complimented my beautiful purse.
That purse was like butter, literally the color of butter almost, and
And the
it felt like
soft.
butter.
Soft, fine leather, beautiful.
Right after it happened, I remember I looked on the internet to see if I could find one. Now we don't remember what the designer was, but back then we remembered.
The hobo bag.
Right, but the designer, and I looked everywhere for it, and I could never find it. I wonder what she did with that. Someone still has it somewhere.
Oh, that was a terrible experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mom, tell me a little more about Zio Frankie and Uncle Joe when they were younger.
Very industrious. Uncle Joe always wanted a ranch, and I guess Uncle Frank too. So they bought an acre, that acre up, and then one was 17, one was 19, and you know, when other young men were dating and all of this, they were working hard, and then they bought the cow, Jersey cow, which died of old age. They never butchered her or had her killed, you know, because
She was
they
your
were the first
friend.
one. And they built it up to 60 cows, and then they went across the bay to Hayward, and when they had 60 cows, because they needed the land, and
Right.
they rented the place over there. And now I wouldn't even be able to tell you. When we've gone to Fremont, sometimes Cousin Vincent says, can you remember where your brother said? I said, no, it's all built up now. You know, all that agricultural land was sold for housing. And so, at any rate, you know, they had 60 cows over there. And,
What did they do for fun?
Well, the cow you have to take care of 7 days and 7 nights a week. And Joe went over and took care of the cows, you know, taking care of the cows. And we used to go every Sunday, and Mom used to cook and bring all the food, so we'd have food for the week. And then take his dirty clothes and bring them back.
So Uncle Joe actually lived there?
Joe actually, oh yeah, he had to live there, yeah, take care of the cows. They had to been milked twice a day. And then they had one kid working for them. And then my brother Frank kept working in the shop.
How old were they when they bought the shop?
Let me see. When Joe came back from the army, from Korea, he went to work to become a plater, because my brother Frank was a metal polisher.
So they went to work for someone else first?
No, Frank was working in a shop as a metal polisher. And then, you know, always with the intention they wanted to buy their own business. So then Joe went to work and became a plater. So see, they know both facets
Right.
of the business. And then they worked a few years. No, I don't remember their ages when they bought the shop. Cousin Vincent was staying there during the summer when they first bought the shop, but they were still working. He used to stay there to take in deliveries and all. Things that were coming in. Cousin Vincent did.
Hang on, Mom. I have to stop and start another video.